Hi there, it's time to use the Wyckoff lens to look into where TAO is at and where it's heading. If you're new to my sessions, here are the 3 key items that I will cover during the session. So let's start with the weekly chart. Last week we talked about Bittensor. TAO is basically showing a sign of weakness again after August as well as September, October time. All right, so the third time in this year. It doesn't mean it's going straight all the way to the bottom. So this week it did test the orange key level of around 254. Okay, but then we quickly got buy-in from the bottom. However, if we look at the volume, it eats in very high. It's only like half of what we had back in the last week of October as well as the first week of November. If the price really drops that much and a lot of people bought in, it should show something similar to what we had during the week of October 13. At least maybe around the 16.52k level. Currently we're at quite low, around 10-11k. So this buy-in may not last very long, or staying above this yellow key level at around $286 may not last too long. Okay, when we get to the daily chart, we may be able to tell what's actually going on. So here, the next stage remains same, is that my view of higher chance getting into the accumulation. Assuming the market sentiment doesn't turn. However, I'll still give it a chance that a bounce may happen, like what it did in the past when sign of weakness showed up. There may be a last point of supply coming, which may or may not happen. Okay, so next week can still be a red candlestick like the week after, and a white one doesn't appear. So then we don't have an LPSY. And this SOW, the sign of weakness, we'll have to take that out when that happens, if no rebound happens. Some people may ask if TAO's distribution cycle doesn't end, okay, it doesn't go back to accumulation. Is there a chance for it to show an upthrust after distribution? I say yes. As long as it continues to stay here trading sideways above the yellow key level, it can happen. Alright? Even though the chance currently is pretty low, let's give it a 1% chance as of this moment. Alright? Let's take it from the LPSY. Alright? So this, going back to accumulation, whether it accumulate above the orange or even above the yellow, we don't know yet, because last time, actually the time before the last accumulation, during summer all the way into September of 2024, the accumulation range was between the red key level of 219 all the way to the light blue key level of 366. So almost $150 range. Currently we are within the top half of that range. Okay, so that's why I said it can start accumulating at a higher level, even though the past 2 times both have their low price points during the accumulation below the red key level of 219. Okay, so that's the backdrop. Let's get to the daily. So we have drawn this air hockey table, or the downward channel. It's time to adjust it, because the past 5 days, including today, has basically shown us the rate of drop isn't as steep as when we have drawn it last week. Because last week we were referring to these candlesticks where they get rejection and through this box. But the subsequent days confirm that it can go a little bit higher, but not like very crazy. So we have to adjust this air hockey table so it reflects more closely what's happening. So if you ask why I call this an air hockey table, it's because the price tends to bounce between the edges of the channel as well as the center line of the channel. Alright, so that's why if you imagine you're playing air hockey, that's how the price bounces off during the trend. Okay, so it's not a straight line down, not a straight line up. That's roughly where the center line should go. It doesn't need to cut the box in 50-50. It lies on the area where most candlesticks have their heads or tails within the box, other than the two edges. Okay, so back to the Wyckoff tags. Last week we discussed and asked whether that's a preliminary support over here since November 13 all the way to November 19th. Okay, and we talked about there was supposed to be a breakout potential, but the confirmation came that the decision is to head towards the downside, 3 days ago on Thursday. Now that today it reclimbed to above the yellow key level. So either in the remaining 6 hours for today's candle or tomorrow, another confirmation will happen. That confirmation will come and tell us, is the price going to continue with the downtrend? Is the trading continuing with the downtrend? Or this time it is really going to break out of the downtrend and start a new trend. Okay, maybe horizontal, or if this is really a selling climax, it may be an automatic rally. Okay, that potentially challenges the green key level or above, or even the light blue key level. Okay, the PS may not be over, so I'm putting the selling climax here as a question, not saying this is the actual selling climax. Alright, what we're going through now may still be the preliminary support stage, and the selling climax has yet to happen. It all depends on what the next 2 days is going to happen. Alright, so last time the selling climax ended around the yellow key level, but October 10th or 11th made another dip before it has a little bit of rebound, and now it returns to another accumulation cycle in the daily time frame. Okay, the daily is different from the weekly. Okay, don't mix up the two, because in the weekly it's still not coming down yet. So until the point it comes down, then this will eventually follow. So that's why if it's continuing to follow the downtrend, just having these mini rebound isn't going to change the trend over here. Okay, this in the weekly drives what happened in the daily. So remember what I say, the chance towards the accumulation zone is higher. There is a chance for these bumps, these rebounds, like what happened here, February this year. And also, this remains, even though it's a very small chance. If TAO or the supporters or the bulls of TAO say we're not going to south, okay, that's where we're going. If they jump in, then that's where it can go, and that may be the last stage of the distribution. All right. Okay, so that's all I want to share, but remember, whatever I say are possibilities. Don't mix it up with certainty. Okay, I explain different scenarios, the potential of how likely it's going to move towards the next stage. Sometimes people would mistaken or get confused that that implies it's going to there. There's no exception. That's not the case, okay?